The Football World Cup's the biggest sporting event in the world, and you can keep up with the play with me, Jason Piney, and my good mate and former All-White David Choate on Football Fever. Listen daily throughout the World Cup as we bring you all the action from Qatar. Choate and I love football. We can't wait for the World Cup to get underway. So join us as we live through all the goals, all the drama, all the glory. Download Football Fever from iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
They still have their hands on the trophy. Only Messi, magical Messi, and Argentina can wrestle it from them now.
Yeah, France, defending champions, looking to go back-to-back. The first team to have done that, if they can achieve it, since Brazil in 1958 and 62. Let's get to France and get a viewpoint from there for you. Bring in Ruben Slagter from Eurosport in Paris. Ruben, thanks for taking the time. This game's going to kick off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Paris time. So how much anticipation is there among the French people about this World Cup final?
Yeah, there's quite a lot. The French, it had to take off a little bit because before the tournament there was a lot of discussion about being it in Qatar and everything, what came with it. But when the tournament starts, and the French are quite patriotic, as you maybe know. So when they started and they started to play well, there was straight quite a lot of optimism here in the country. And they kept winning. So now, especially after the England game where they won in the quarterfinals, now everybody is behind the team. So it's only one game until history, and especially history because they will win it twice in a row, which would be quite incredible.
Yeah, first time that's been done or will have been done for 60 years, which is quite the feat. How does this French side compare to the French side that won it 4 years ago?
I think that there's a real difference that it's more offensively playing right now. It's not always so because Didier Deschamps is a manager that is well known about quite pragmatic. He has only one goal, which is winning games, and how he doesn't care. But because there were a lot of injuries before and also during the tournament, he really doesn't have a choice in his team right now. The first 11 are quite sure to play, and they are quite attacking players, which is not really his style. So it's more entertaining to watch. I can make the comparison with 2018, where there was, for example, Blaise Matuidi playing in quite a offensive role, who is not a really offensive player. So now there's Ousmane Dembele playing there, and that's more entertaining to watch. It's also with Theo Hernandez, for example, left back, who is a way more attacking player than his brother Lucas Hernandez, for example. So it's more entertaining to watch, which also means that it's a little bit more vulnerable at the back.
You mentioned Dembele, also Antoine Griezmann, Olivier Giroud, of course, at the ripe old age of 37, and let's not forget Kylian Mbappe. There's some amazing attacking weaponry there, Ruben. It's almost a surprise that Didier Deschamps is sometimes a little bit loath, a little bit reluctant to use an attacking style.
It's the criticism that has been from all the countries except from France to this team, of course, because this team, if you look at the potential, and then we're only talking about these players, Karim Benzema is not there because he's injured. The Ballon d'Or winner, we have Nicolas Nkunku, who is Christoph Nkunku, I'm sorry, the player from Leipzig, who is the best, is the top scorer in the German league. So there's so much talent in this team, and which also means that France is favored for every tournament they play in. But okay, that's also a little bit the style of Didier Deschamps. He likes to make sure that he's not losing a game, which is a little bit disappointing, but okay, that's his choice. And if he wins twice in a row, we can't argue with him, of course.
Lionel Messi, of course, is the big story in the Argentina side, and I guess a lot of people would love to see him finish his career with a World Cup. Obviously, everybody in France would hope that is not the case. How will France look to limit Lionel Messi's influence on this game?
Well, Lionel Messi, of course, we shouldn't forget that he is now playing for Paris Saint-Germain as well. And especially this year, last year he came into France and you could see that he needs some time to adapt to the league and especially to the country because he was so used to live in Barcelona, etc. This year he is really convincing for Paris Saint-Germain as well. So the French now have seen the real Messi in France already. And they all know how dangerous he can be, especially because even if he is now a bit older than a few years ago when he was really on the top of his on the highest level he's ever had, he still has that brilliance that he can decide the game in just one moment. So that's where they're really afraid of. But to be fair, I think that the French also know that they have more attacking weapons than Argentina, for example. Argentina is so Messi dependent, so if he will deliver again, I think that there will also be a lot of respect in France for the fact that he has taken his whole team to a World Cup almost all by himself.
Are there any specific French weaknesses that Argentina might look to exploit?
For me, Theo Hernandez is the weakness. In fact, Theo Hernandez is a fantastic player when he has the ball. You can maybe compare him, for example, with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who plays for Liverpool and for England as well. When he has the ball, he is a fantastic player, but he is also a defender. And when you put a lot of pressure on him, we've seen it England doing it, and also Morocco, then he is not the most, the most sure player to as a defender. He can make some mistakes. So I think that Argentina will know it as well. I think that there's also a fear that the longer the match will take without a goal, the more confident the Argentinians will get, and they will just throw everything at the French because, they just wanted so much to give Messi his World Cup title. So maybe that's another concern.
Ruben, I know as well as following the football on the field, you've reported and written extensively about the business of football and the fact that this World Cup is in Qatar. How do you regard this World Cup? How do you think it'll be remembered?
It will be remembered for so many things. We could just start a whole show about it, but it's most of all it will be remembered as the most political World Cup ever until now, and maybe also for a long time. We can have it as the first Arab World Cup, which has had some real positive sides in it. We can talk about the Moroccan team who came really far with the whole Arab world behind them. But we should never forget what happened before the tournament by getting this tournament, by simply buying it. Let's be fair about that. And also everything that happened with the people working there, the immigrants who died during the construction. So it will be a tournament that will be remembered for so many things on the positive and the negative side. It's how football is these days. I'm sorry to say, it's all about business and politics. So there's a lot of things in it. If we only talk about the football part, I think we have seen a lot of entertaining games. The level itself was not always the highest, but every match has had interesting stories, to be fair. We've had a lot of last-minute drama, so that was great to watch. But the level itself, for me, was not super high, except for the France-England match, which was, for me, by far the best game in this tournament. But let's hope for the final. Maybe it can get even better.
Let's hope so. The 64th of 64 games. Can't let you go without a prediction. Ruben, who wins the final?
France will win the final, I think. I think they will win it 2-1.
All right, Ruben. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Ruben Slagter there out of Eurosport in Paris.